When I started making this film, I hated the sound of my mother's voice. It was so painful to me. I was like, I'm so embarrassed by this voice, this sex symbol. What are you doing? Why are you acting like that? Just be normal. Just drop down in there. I just need to see you for 1 second. And that's what I got in this movie, is I would watch the archival go, oh, there she is.
Hello, and welcome back to The Director's Cut, brought to you by the Directors Guild of America. In this episode, director Mariska Hargitay explores the life and legacy of her mother, Hollywood icon Jayne Mansfield, in the documentary My Mom Jayne. Screened as part of the DGA's documentary series, the film navigates Mansfield's public and private legacy through interviews and a collection of never-before-seen photos and home movies. Having lost her mother at 3 years old, Hargitay seeks to know, understand, and embrace her mother for the first time. In addition to My Mom Jayne, Hargitay's other directorial credits include episodes of the series Law & Order Special Victims Unit. Following the documentary series screening of the film at the DGA Theater in New York, Hargitay, joined by the film's producer Trish Adlesic, spoke with director Lisa Cortés about filming My Mom Jayne. Listen on for their conversation.
I want to speak on behalf of people navigating grief. This film is a really incredible tool for those of us in that process. Oh. But let's jump in to the journey.
That's a pretty important thing that you just said. I just want to acknowledge it. So I think that's what makes it a universal film and a family film.
Yeah.
And it's okay to sit in that.
Thank you. So this film is deeply personal. Can you share how your passion for the musical Hamilton helped shift this from something private to something you felt compelled to share publicly as a filmmaker?
Well, I don't know that it was Hamilton that did that. Are you talking about the Ron story?
Yeah, the Ron story.
Okay. Because, I was thinking about that, and I think it's the storytelling that I've been doing for 30 years. I think it's the storytelling that I've been doing with victims of sexual assault and domestic violence that have emboldened me to tell truthful stories of our painful stories that unify us as human beings. And to answer your question, obviously this is a film I feel like I've been preparing for my whole life, even though I didn't know that I wanted to make it. And Trish and I, when we made our first film together, which was I Am Evidence, about the backlog of untested rape kits that Trish directed with Geeta Gandabir, and I produced, and we just did it all together. Because it was from the genesis was from my foundation, Joyful Heart, which dealt with the backlog of untested rape kits. And then when we were making the film, we made it with HBO. And at the time when we made it, we discussed the possibility of making a movie about my mom, which I was not ready to do at all at the time. And so I was like, yeah, no, that's not happening right now. And then I became I guess it's called a Hamilton file, and became obsessed with Hamilton. And I mean obsessed. I went 27 times. And I know people think I'm like the freaky girl that goes to Hamilton all the time, but I like that. And I like people thinking that I'm freaky because I am. I'm a little bit of a freak. But I would go to Hamilton so much and that they would just pull up a chair. I didn't even have to pay for it anymore because they felt sorry for me. But what happened was I became friendly with Ron Chernow, who wrote the book. And he had asked me if I had ever thought about making a documentary about my mother. And I said, no, Ron, everyone's dead. And then he said, I can help you with that. And it was just this extraordinary moment that this world opened up to me that I thought like, oh, hey, Marish, people have made movies about dead people before. You're not just going in this blind. We can figure this out. And so that was sort of the genesis of that in that way.
Right. I read that your first day of filming was with your father, Nelson.
Yes.
How do you prepare yourself to have the internal scaffolding to do an interview like you did with him?
Yeah, that was crazy. Our first day of shooting. That was our first day of shooting. It was nuts. It all felt very real that day. I think that by the time that I decided to make this film, I was all in. I was all in and I was ready to go. And as you know from watching the timeline of the story, is I met Nelson when I was 30. And Nelson kept the secret for 30 years. So the beauty of it was he was also so happy to come out into the world, to not hold the secret anymore. So he was very excited to tell it. And I think that, now as we see in the film, I think he was excited and ready to do his penance. And also as an act of love to say, this is an unzip for you and for the truth, which is what I was after. So when we went that day, it was just awesome because my crazy filming schedule, and I'm like, Trish, I'm off. I have an extra day off. She's like, I'm on it. And pulled the shooting day together in Las Vegas. We just flew in from New York for a day and we did it. And it was so significant and so powerful and just so we're going in. We're going in. Are you ready? And he was like, oh yes, I'm ready.
So it's almost like you didn't even give yourself a chance to think about what you were going to go through. You kind of, I think that's what I mean by the internal scaffolding.
I prepared for years to do this film. I think that when I first decided to do it in 2020 during the pandemic, I knew the work that I had to do internally. And because of, listen, I'm sure many of you watch SVU. And if you don't, you should, because it's good. We have some directors here in the room from SVU, so let's give them a shout out. Thank you. We got Mike Smith, and I think we have Stephanie Marquard.
Stephanie.
Can't wait to hug you. It's on right now, guys. I'm here when I could be watching myself on the big screen, just saying. I think that I had done so much work internally, in therapy, just to be frank, and working to make sure that I could come at it from an objective, clear point of view, but not as a injured person. And so I really took 7 years to work on my issues, to be honest, because you can't make a movie like this if you're not through it on the other side. You just can't, especially as a filmmaker, to be objective and to come at it, from here going okay, let's get in, let's look at this angle, let's look at this angle, it's uptown, downtown, all of it. So I was ready.
So in keeping, how did your relationship to your mother evolve over the course of making this film, not just as a director, as a daughter, but as a director?
I think that it's a great question, and nobody's ever asked me that. I think that this film and this process cleared so much out of the way for me. It was an extraordinarily organizing film to make. Organizing for me personally, organizing for my family, and organizing for me as an artist. And so I think there was a fearlessness component. Then I went in and I said, if you're going to do it, you got to do it. You got to be all in. And I was just ready. I was ready to tell this story. I was ready to go on this search. I was ready to do the archaeological dig, but also I was deeply, genuinely, disciplinedly curious. And I think that's what you have to be as a filmmaker to make a good film, to really want the answer. And I did. And that was extraordinary. And so it was such a great thing that my co-star on the show, Kelly Giddish, amazing actor, said to me, and it really speaks to this, I think. She said, after she saw the movie, she goes, I can't wait to see what you do as an actor. And I was like, I so get that. Because something got cleared out and there was a fearlessness, and I could see my mother was fearless and she went for it and I went for it, and I had an extraordinary partner in this film and an extraordinary team around me.
Well, speaking of Trish, when you're stepping into a project with such intimate emotional terrain, how do you define your role? Protector, translator, collaborator?
That's a great question, and I really appreciate it because we do wear many hats. I think in scripted, you have the written page, and you want your actors to be comfortable and they get the opportunity to really study their lines. And with documentaries, it's a blank canvas, and the participants have to really get comfortable in that space in order for you to really achieve where you want to go as a director and producer with the material. And so I think, to answer your question, I played all three of those roles,
And more.
I've known Mariska for 27, going on almost 28 years. And she's a dear, trusted friend. And when she told me she was ready, I knew exactly what she meant, that she was ready to dig in and tell her family story. And I was protective on many levels. I wanted to collaborate and help her support her vision as a director, and being a proud senior DGA member for 25 years, being a part of the director's team. You come up through the ranks in your production skills and you learn, how can I best sustain and empower the director's vision? And there are many ways to do that. And you have to be able to think well on your feet under enormous pressure at times, quickly, and to also bring in the most creative, talented people that will enhance the director's vision. And Mariska being director and subject, that was kind of a double whammy, because I wanted her to be as comfortable as possible, and I wanted her to have the freedom to try any possible way in and out of the story. And I really want to acknowledge our partner, HBO, because HBO is one of the most incredible filmmaker supporters I have ever had the opportunity to work with. They gave us so much space and freedom. There was never any pressure. Of course, we have to adhere to a budget and a schedule, but if it took 3 years or 4 years or 2 years, they were always ready when we were ready. And I just, some of them are here tonight, and I just want to thank HBO for giving us this platform and home, because really need that kind of a partner also to create stories like this. And so, and I also want to really commend Mariska. She's one of the most dynamic directors I've had the opportunity to work with. And she's also incredibly open to ideas. And for me, that was exhilarating, because we would have certain scenes built and I would be able to say, okay, wait, I want to really make sure, I want to rest, what can I bring to her that might be supportive? And I would show her ideas, and she was like totally open to seeing them.
Best idea wins.
Right?
And you still get the credit. What?
And not every director's like that, right? Like sometimes a director's like, thanks, I got this.
Trish had such great, she is a director and she's directed her own films, but had such great ideas and came at it in different ways. And I kept thinking tonight, seeing all the wonderful things you did, or like one of the things I just want to shout out, Trish, is, the beginning of a documentary. First of all, how many people here are documentary directors? Okay. Well, you understand. There's only 4 of you. Okay, whatever. Anyway, the rest of you wouldn't understand. But one of the things about you making documentaries, you don't know where it's going to go. You have no idea. And that's scary. But you have to start somewhere. So we started, we had a good opening. I thought it was awesome, actually. It was footage that I shot in like 2012. My husband shot. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Way before I was going to do the documentary, but it was at the gravesite on the side of the road where she died. I was like, oh my God, this is Eureka. I can't believe we're finding this. And it was really strong opening. And then, we kept making the movie. And then Trish was like, listen, Mariska, you got to get him in the first 5 minutes. We got to redo this opening. And I was like, oh, really? And she's like, yeah. Because I want to rework it. And then we just got in. I was like, oh, no, if you don't get him in the first 5 minutes, okay, let's rework it. And we reworked it and reworked it and reworked it. And I'm so grateful for the push.
Well, I didn't exactly kick
She
her.
kicked me. I still have this bruise. It's awkward.
A gentle push.
But guys, the movie's awesome, is it not? I'm kidding. No, but it was such a beautiful collaboration that way. And I was so lucky.
What didn't make it in?
If they don't have a sense of humor, I don't care.
But I'm here.
Like, am I right? If they don't get it, go ahead.
What did you decide not to include?
Well, you have to understand, it's not like that. There's so much that we didn't include that I'm sad we didn't include it. We just didn't have enough time. There was a lot of people, I interviewed Gloria Steinem. I interviewed some friends that knew my mother. They had nothing. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
She's not kidding about nothing.
Did not drive the story forward, and I was like, oh well, that's sad, wasted time and money. But you keep going, and then other things would pop up, So it's a constant. It's a constant thing that just keeps changing. I made changes at the end. I remember we locked a picture. I'm not supposed to say this, but we locked picture 3 times.
5.
And then I would watch it again. And this is the thing about watching it 50 times and then 100. And then I was like, why is that in there? That does nothing for the story. And Trish is like, okay, sweetie, we lost picture twice. And then we'd have to open it up. And I'll tell you something. I don't regret it. And I don't care how much it cost because it's worth it. Trish is sweating. You guys, but this is the thing. It's like I learned this on SVU. You be out there. I shot an episode last week. It was a month ago, but whatever. We were shooting outside. It was freezing in the rain. I was so cold. I said, I'm too old for this shit. And then, we do it as directors. And I learned this. It doesn't matter in the moment. You gotta just go through it because it matters on screen. And I learned that a long time ago. So you just push through it no matter what. And if you have to unlock picture a couple times, Trisha's going to kill me when we leave. Go ahead.
No, she won't. She'll just give you a gentle push.
Sweetie, when we do talkbacks, one thing you might not want to mention is how many times we unlocked picture. Go ahead.
Let's go back to the archaeological dig you were talking about before. Can you talk about the discoveries in the archival process that changed the direction of the story and how interacting with the archive informed the edit? Because I want you to talk about your editor because I
love my editor so much. It's an editor named J.D. Marlowe. He's so magnificent. I can't say enough about him. He'd never done anything like this, ever. And you would almost think it's a weird choice that when we picked him. But I knew that he was the guy. We met with 3 or 4 people. And I met him and I was like, this guy's the guy. And then he said, do you have any archival? And I said, what? And that's when I started air smoking. But anyway, we had archival. Trish, tell. Sorry, I'm making a comedy hour, but I just got off a plane. Tell them about how much archival there was.
We had over 18,000 photos and about 25,000 clips of footage from around the world of Jayne. And, the archival really did inform
the film.
Yeah.
And what informed it so much was it's such an intimate marriage. I mean, Trish and I, as she said, we're already friends and we'd already made a movie together and we'd already worked together for so many years. And I already was such a huge fan of her work before and knew what she was capable of and how deep she wanted to go, that I knew she was the perfect one for me for this. But with JD, it's like a marriage. And so much of this process.
We're also kind of married.
Yes, don't tell Peter Herman that.
Okay, Mormon wives.
But so much you're getting more than for your money tonight, aren't you? But what happened was during the edit, which from directing SVU, I love directing. I love it so much. And then I would go into the edit, and every time I was like, this is my favorite part. This is my favorite part of directing for me was the edit. So being in the edit room with JD and watching the footage and him watching me interact with the footage was this magical process that like distilled down so much and made him understand on such a deep intrinsic level what we were dealing with. Because like one of the things in the film that I love talking about, when I started making this film, I hated the sound of my mother's voice. It was so painful to me. And that's part of the reason I made this film, was I was like, I'm so embarrassed by this voice, this sex symbol. What are you doing? Why are you acting like that? Just be normal. Just drop down in there. I just need to see you for one fucking second. And that's what I got in this movie, is I would watch the archival go, oh, there she is. There she is. Do you hear that? When she dropped into her lower register, and I got to see this like other person. And I would watch this other person that I'd been yearning for my entire life, yearning from like the deepest part of you, the mother-child. Mother is everything. It's everything. That's just the bottom line. Okay, I'm gonna just break it down for you. But to experience like feeling connected to a person that you never felt connected to, and then going, look how alike we are. I'm just like you. It was the most insanely gorgeous, healing experience one of the greatest things that I've ever done in my life. Do you want to say something?
You got this.
Okay. But it was just extraordinary. And that was the marriage. That was the deep connection that, like, and JD talks about it. But it was also a really wonderful thing because JD is he calls himself a minimalist, and I am not.
She's a maximalist.
That's what he said.
That's what we call her.
So it was such a gorgeous thing because when I explained to him about how I wanted the film to be and the fact that I didn't have memories of my mother, and then we began to build this, what we call essence, the sort of dream sequence stuff. And I said, it's got to feel like a dream. And then he would do a little bit and I'd be like, more. Let's build out Ellen's dream. Let's do this. And so it became this like, again, like him bringing these beautiful ideas and showing me how he could make it and make my vision that I had in my brain come to life. And then we could color it and push it off the mountain, and then I could sculpt it. It was so extraordinary, the process. It's like, I'm gonna make 50 more. No, I'm hooked, I'm in, guys.
Right on. In the doc space, we talk a lot about ethics and responsibility. When you're telling the story about someone who can't speak for themselves, how do you navigate responsibility versus interpretation?
That's another wonderful question.
I got them for you,
Yeah,
sister.
you do. Clearly. Someone's prepared. That was the beauty of letting her speak for herself. This was the beauty of letting her talk and seeing all this archival, us getting to know her. Like Trish and I would be sitting there watching the archival going, like it just took our breath away to see her philanthropy, to see how she raised her children, to see how hard she loved, to see what this gorgeous three-dimensional person she was, to see how graceful she was with Jack Parr, who is the devil. I mean, it was disgusting, so disrespectful, so dismissive, so cruel. It's disgusting. And I watch her going, you are just so elegant and graceful. And she just kind of laughed it all off. She knew what she was. And it was a different time. But for me, I was very clear. I don't remember my mother. So this was about an introduction, of introducing people to her, of introducing her to myself, and having the people that knew her talk about their experience firsthand.
And I also wanted to add that I think it's really important to stick to the facts.
Yes.
You know, when someone's deceased, you have to really look at the records and look at what was left to help us define Jayne and explain Jayne. And, you know, she was in an area where Hollywood put women in a beauty sex appeal box. And we would see glimpses in the archival, you know, for me personally, her with the veterans, you know, I had a very personal connection to this because my mother was an RN for the Veterans Administration for 50 years. And when I saw Jayne, that I thought, wow, I, you know, personally really related to it. But that was a real part of who she was as a person outside of the persona of her caricature. And I call it a caricature because it really wasn't fair to who Jayne truly was as an artist.
And Groucho so beautifully called it out. Which was stunning.
We're going to do a little bit of a speed round because I have a couple more questions, and then I think we have incredible people in the audience that we want to let them ask some questions. Looking back, is there anything you would approach differently now? This is for both of you.
Well, it's funny. You know, it's hard as a director to not. I mean, do you ever finish the edit? You know, tonight I did see two things I would have changed. I said it to Trish. Oops. I did say it to Trish. I said to her, and I go, you know, it was very important to me. I really wanted to tell the story from my siblings' point of view. And so you can see I kept myself out of it a lot. However, the moment when Nelson said, there was a moment I should have cut back to myself and I didn't. And it was like it was the most important moment in that, in the scene with him. And I said that, and there's another moment where I would have just switched and edit, but I don't regret it because I watch it and I'm so proud of it. I'm so proud of it. I'm so proud of what it brings up in other people. I'm so proud about people's response to it and how it makes them think about their own story. I'm so proud that it makes us sit together as human beings in our grief and in our pain, and that it acknowledges what we all carry. I so wanted to say, like,
mic to the mouth,
oh, I'm so loud, they can hear me. I'm just proud of how it connects us.
Trish, anything?
If I had any regrets about this film, we would still be in the edit room right now.
Yes.
And I have no regrets whatsoever. In fact, I feel like we wrestled every piece of this footage and we really, truly, sincerely spent the time we needed comfortably, without pressure, and with grace together in the edit room, all of us. And there was a real community there and a real place, a safe place of love to really talk about what we were experiencing with the material. And so if I didn't have that time to do that with Mariska and JD, I would have potential regrets, but we were always connected. Like I would say, what about this? The Giovanna scene and building up the characters' balances. And like, no, absolutely no regrets. Totally at peace with it. And I know Mariska's at peace with it too.
I really am. And I think about that. I joked about, you know, unlocking picture, but that's what shows you what an amazing producer, you know, that I had in Trish, is because she would weigh it out and we would talk about it and what the cost and everything. But the notes were good and they mattered. And this is such a process, you know? We don't have that in television. We don't have that time to sit in the edit. We don't have it. And I remember, you know, when HBO said like, oh yeah, it's coming out in 2026. I was like, what the fuck? We're done like a year? And then the fact was that it turned out to be the greatest gift ever, because as Trish said, we did have the time and we balanced it out. We weren't going to do anything frivolous, but when we would see something and then you can't unsee it, you got to fix it. This lives forever. So.
And it's also a tribute to Jayne. Like we wanted to get it right.
Yes.
You know, my mantra is, I'm in a rush to get it right, not in a rush to get it done, right? So if you feel like you have to hurry up and make this film and you're not sure,
Yeah.
and your heart of hearts, like you're telling this story, you need to take a break and purposeful pause.
And as filmmakers, taking the break, then you come back to it and you're like, "Phew, it's all new again. It's all new again." And then you see new things. So, I mean, those breaks were the greatest. And I was shooting. So there was times I couldn't go in for 2 weeks.
We are going to do we have any questions?
Well,
Can you, want me to repeat the
No.
question back, or do you want? Okay. So
She said-
because of how we're taping. So, incredible director here. And you said you love the film. And the question is, how did it change you or your life?
such a big, how it changed me in my life. I have so much internal space back. I am not living without a secret. I used to walk around and people would go, "Oh, I'm Hungarian, you're Hungarian?" And I'd go, "Mm-hmm." And it was like, I tell you, it felt like a shot. Because now I say it in a different way. Yes, I'm also Hungarian. I'm Italian and Hungarian, and I own them both. But in a place where I couldn't own it, it was this sense of, it was false. I don't do well with that. And what I wanted most about this film and what I wanted most in my life is authenticity. That's what I live by. You can't do anything as an artist without that, in my opinion. You know, wait, I just wanted to, I'll tell you something. How beautiful is this, guys? I don't think it's an accident that I'm going to be on Broadway
Full circle.
next month after this film. Thank you. But I'm saying it because my mother started on Broadway. Do you understand? That's what put her on the map. I've not done Broadway. It's been a lifelong dream since I was 20 years old and started acting. My first acting teacher said, "Mariska," do you see that? I keep doing this with my reflex and it keeps going like this. It's so embarrassing. Not really. Anyway, but I was like, there's some sort of flow. I also made this movie to unburden myself of the secret. I didn't want to live a lie anymore. I just didn't. Who was the secret for? This film is a love letter to my father. And how beautiful is it that Mickey Hargitay was Mr. America, Mr. Universe, Mr. World. He held 3 titles. Here was this muscle man, and his biggest muscle was his heart. And that's a fact. So I wanted to honor both my parents. I wanted to honor my mother, to say, look what a badass 3D, unbelievable artist, complex, ambitious person that figured it out, was loved children, with all these amazing things about her. My dad, who's like my life and my hero, and honor myself for who I am in an authentic way. So I feel like, and then my birth father, who was so honoring to me, who did what he did to honor me and to honor Mickey. And it wasn't because he didn't love me, or I wasn't good enough, or I was, abandoned, or whatever, all those things that I grew up feeling. Abandonment, I'm from an affair, I'm dirty, I'm not worthy, I shouldn't be here. I mean, the list went on. I don't feel any of that anymore. I'm just here, like all of us, because we're supposed to be, living my life. And we all have a story. We all are carrying our story. And that's why I love storytelling, because we can unburden ourselves and help other people and create community and be deeply connected in our wound that empowers us. And being vulnerable is our biggest strength. And that's what is so exciting to me. Is people are like, "Oh God, this is really hard. You just really unzipped." I was like, "No, man, that's my shtick." No, because vulnerability is strength. I feel stronger, not weaker, because I made this film. When people share their story with me, I love them more and feel more connected to them. This is the power of storytelling. This is why I love it. These are the kind of movies I want to make. And Trish, with Trish.
Thank you.
I have 27 more questions. We would all want to hear you sing, but unfortunately, I've been given.
Wait, you didn't save time?
Lisa, I just want to acknowledge Lisa Cortés because she is a legendary documentary filmmaker, just won an Academy Award for her documentary short, All the Empty Rooms. If you haven't seen it, see it. She is someone to follow, who inspires and to emulate. And I'm so grateful that you're here tonight with Mariska and I. And I want to thank Ellen and everybody from the Women's Committee and the DGA for giving us this beautiful platform.
Yes.
HBO,
Thank
of
you.
course,
Thank
too.
you so much.
you.
Thank you, DGA members.
Thank you, DGA members. Thank you, DGA directors. Wait, can I just say one thing? There were 2 moments tonight that I listened, obviously I'm listening to the audience and how people are responding. And it was so great, the moment when you say, why did she marry him, Matt Cimber? And he goes, because he was a director. And I heard all of him going, oh. It was so funny. And then there was the other line, one of my favorite moments in the film is when she goes, my mom said, we go in your car. And he says, whoa. Yeah. And I was like, they totally get it, Trish. You know what I'm saying? It was just like I felt like I was with like-minded people who got it. So thank you for that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
HBO, it's on HBO. Tell your friends, tell your families.
Thanks for listening to another DGA Q&A. The Director's Cut is available wherever you listen to podcasts. And please share, subscribe, rate, and review. We'd love to hear your feedback, and you can help fellow film buffs find the show. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time. This podcast is produced by the Directors Guild of America.